Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody today? I hope that you're well. I hope that you've had a good week. We go through things, we process things, and sometimes we don't always make it through the way we're supposed to make it through. But one thing about it, it's always a good day. You always have a good day because it's a choice. And we choose to have a good day. We choose to bless the Lord. We choose to rely on Him and depend on Him no matter what we're going through. So I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for allowing us to serve you. We're serving you when we come on Sundays, and not only are we serving you, we're serving ourselves, and we're learning, and we're growing, and we're maturing, and we're just coming to another place in our lives. And I'm just so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I'm loved. How about you? I want you to know that you are loved. And not only are you loved, you are honored in so many different ways. The Father, He loves you so much that no matter what you go through, no matter what the process is, He's right there, and He's wrapping His arms around you and say, you can make it. I got you, baby. I got your daughter. I got your son. No matter what it looks like, I got you. And I'm just so appreciative of that I made the choice to allow Him to be who He needed to be in my life so that I could be who He needed me to be for Him in the kingdom. So I have my mirror here today, and yeah, I look pretty good. That's the flesh side. But on the spiritual side, I look real good. And I'm just so grateful that when I look in the mirror, I'm not looking in the mirror anymore and just saying, oh, look at all that. Look. But now I'm saying, Leslie, you're beautiful. You are beautiful, and you're aging gracefully. That's what I got to say. I'm aging gracefully. So I just want you to look in the mirror this morning, and I don't want you to see all the flaws. I want you to see who the Creator made. Why? Because I am, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are beautiful in His sight. And I'm just so grateful to be here with you to say that. So today, can we please say what I love for us to say? It is not my saying, but I do love for us to say it. And the saying is, my life, a life without me is like a life without color. You know, I was looking outside my bedroom window last night. Sometimes I just lay there and look out the window. It's not like a lot of hot activities. I live in the suburbs, and you might see a car go by once in a while, but you see beautiful birds. And I was looking at the neighbor's yard, and they have a bunch of roses out there. And there was one pink rose in the middle of the red roses, and it stood out. And can I tell you, that's how you are amongst people? You're like a pink rose that stands out. That means the radiance that's within you. When somebody looks upon the group, they see a group, but then they see this beautiful flower that stands out. And in the midst of it, they admire. So are they admiring the beauty that's within you? Are they admiring what the Father has created you to be? That rose was created by Yahweh to stand out. And I looked, and it had like some little white flowers around it and all these red roses. And by itself was this beautiful pink. And it wasn't like a soft pink, it was a soft pink, but it was a vibrant pink. And I want to encourage you today that you are vibrant, that you are a color that sticks out. So if we were to pluck you, or if it was time for you to be plucked, I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say if you choose to pluck yourself out from amongst the roses, you would be missed. So as you sit on the side of your bed, and as you begin to think about things, remember that you are. And my girlfriends, and this came to mind, my girlfriend's husband used to always say this to me, Leslie, you're a diamond in the rough. I used to say, yeah, okay, okay, okay. And every time he seen me, he would say that. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, okay, okay. But if you really think about it, a diamond, and when you pull a diamond out and you begin to clean that diamond off, that diamond becomes vibrant. And maybe you're not full color yet. But I promise you, as you continue through the process, that as you continue being on the potter's wheel, as you continue being allowing him to shape you and make you, I promise you that you'll become a vibrant color. And all those things that kept you bound and kept you not in staying in alignment because you were uh, so in a place where you were stuck on what you was going through. When you began to release that, and it takes time. Some things go away right away. Some things is a process. But every day, if you begin to say to yourself, I release it, I release it. After a while, that diamond that you're supposed to be, how do I get from a rose to a diamond that you're supposed to be will begin to be radiant. It'll begin to blossom. So I want to say thank you so much for being here today. This is Leslie Montgomery. You are listening to LKM Kingdom Living, Leslie's Lessons Learned, with my beautiful sisters. They're not guests, they are my sisters and my niece. And I'm just so glad that they're here with me, that we've been carrying a conversation on for a few weeks now. And we're going to carry it on today. But before we do, I have a clip. And I'm going to learn how to get these clips right. Well, you don't see all the other stuff. Uh-oh. Let me do this. Okay, let's do it again. Didn't have sound before.
Challenge all of you to start a meaningful practice of looking in the mirror and loving what you see. Believe in what you see. If you can't love it, then respect it. And if you can't respect it, then encourage it. If you can't encourage it, empower it. And if you can't empower it, please be kind to it. The greatest relationship, the greatest one you will ever have is with yourself. Believe me. Have faith in yourself, believing that faith can make broken wings fly, and we deserve to soar. Remember, maybe one of these days when you pass the mirror and you catch a glimpse of yourself, remember I told you this. That is what believing looks like. And don't you ever, ever, ever give up on you. I challenge all of you.
So I hope y'all heard that. Did you hear it? Was it too low? You are here on purpose. And one of the things we do, we begin to abuse ourselves because we don't understand. We don't understand our purpose. We don't understand that we have work to do. So when we look in ourselves, we begin to see ourselves differently. We begin to see ourselves. And what she was talking about, oh, I forgot her name real quick. She was speaking of us looking in the mirror. And I said, okay, we gonna look in the mirror and love what you see. She said, if you can't love it, be kind to it. And when you think about kindness and when you think about how kindness fits into your life, sometimes we can be kind to everybody else but ourselves. We can abuse ourselves. We can overlook ourselves. We can put ourselves on the back burner because we have so much to do for other people that we don't even take the time to embrace who we are. So I want to encourage you today as we go forth. So, my question to you, it's a question I used to ask and I just don't ask it anymore, is do you look in the mirror? Did you look in the mirror today and tell yourself, is life, and ask yourself, is life worth living? I want you to look in the mirror and say, I am worth living. You're worth it. Not that anything uh, might have changed, but if you begin to look at yourself differently, and you begin to see that you are changing, everything around you in your atmosphere will begin to change. Yes, you have a purpose. You have a purpose and you have a destiny, and there's a destiny that comes with your purpose. Yes, yes, thank you. And in that, you need to understand that you have to embrace who you are because of who He created you to be. First, seek Him. First, allow Him to love on you. First, allow Him to impart in you who you are and what He wants from you. He doesn't, He expects us to understand our purpose, but we can't do that without understanding who He is. Our purpose is wrapped up in Him. It's wrapped up in Yahweh. Anybody want to say, who's He? Some call Him God, Yahweh. uh, he created us, and He didn't just create us. He didn't just go underground and create Adam. He had a purpose for him. He said, I have need of thee. And what I thought was so awesome, we think about how He created Adam, and I think about them in the boardroom, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the Father, Son, um, Adonai, and Yeshua, not Yeshua, Ruach, in the boardroom, and they're talking, and they're looking, and as they're, um, how you survey things, and as they're surveying things, and they're looking, they say, now every animal is a mate. Now, you got a female and a male, but Adam has no one. And in the midst of that, He says, you know what? We got to give him a mate. We got to create a woman to be aside him. We can't have the animals just having a mate, and then we have him here all alone. When I thought about that thing, that is so powerful. That there was a purpose. Yes, we know He was created to till the land, but they began to look around and they began to see that everything had a partner for Him. And they say, we got to give Him a partner. That's partner's got to come from Him. So, we always see, and I always say that He was prophesying when He said, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. But that was really what it was. She came from out of Adam. So He was talking about the purpose. He was talking about, He was grateful, I must say. He was grateful. He was like, my God, this came out of me. It's just like when we have our babies, we say, this came out of me. He was like, my God, this came out of me. And I'm going to stop talking. I'm just talking. I'm just talking. I'm so excited to know that, we say, oh, yeah, He created Adam because He needed to help me. Yeah, He saw that everything had a pair but Adam. Hallelujah. So He created us. And even though He created us through Adam, He created us still in the image of Him. Why? Because as He removed that woman out of that man, he still had to give her a face. He still had to make a feminine look, and he still had to give her a different shape. He still had to make her look what he wanted her to look like. Look, girls, guys, we are a gift. We are a gift from Elohim. And when we begin to appreciate who he's called us to be, what's that songwriter used to say? What a time it's going to be. When we begin to embrace who we are, when we begin to just realize that this walk that we're in, because it's all a part of our walk, is a whole much bigger, whole much greater than where we are or where we think we are. So we got to start thinking differently. We got to think about differently about what we're going through. We got to think differently about our situations. And one thing about it, Yahweh said, I'm right here. I never leave you. I never forsake you. So as you're going through the process, and yes, there are lessons for us to learn as we're going through, but it's not for us to give up. It's for us to continue to fight the fight. Look, Paul said, I pressed, he said, I fought the good fight of faith, and when you think about that, we were talking the other day, a few of us, about Paul and the thrust in his side, and how he was just kept complaining. I done went to you 3 times, and you ain't did nothing yet. This is me talking, and it looks like you ain't going to do nothing. And the Father just gracefully said, my grace, what you going through, my grace is more powerful than that. My grace is what will bring you out. And it was like Paul said, what? Wait a minute now. And he said, I'd rather, instead of worrying or wallowing in my problem, I'm going to get in your face. And he says, I don't care nothing about this problem no more. What I need is more of you than what I'm going through. So I'm going to close my mouth now, and I'm going to let these ladies introduce themselves, you know, and I want you to understand that through this process, you're being changed. Layers are being taken off. Devastation is being pushed out the way. Trauma, he wants to heal you from your trauma. And that's something we're going to talk about one day, but we're going to have somebody with a license on when we do. That the trauma and the devastation and things we take ourselves through because we don't know how to let things go. So, Wanda, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon in some parts of the world. Might even be evening in some places. My name is Wanda Floyd. I am a licensed care professional. I've been licensed for over 31 years. I am a mother of 8. I am also an educator in the beauty industry and trainer. I am an author and I do a lot of things and do some things in ministry. And I'm just happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. I see my niece. Oh, here she comes. Hey, Tiffany.
Hello, everyone. You know, anytime we're in this space, it's always fluid here, so I had to take care of something. So anyway, hello, everyone. I'm Tiffany. I'm here today. What you want to know? What I do? I do it all.
You're muted.
We can't hear you, Tiff.
You're muted.
I did all that talking to y'all to hear. Okay, let's try it again. I'm sorry. I'm Tiffany Childs. I'm a certified holistic practitioner here in the DMV. Um, I also my husband and I also have a company called Team Child. And what we are health renewal coaches. We inspire the power of choice towards whole body wellness through a spiritual, mental, and physical approach. And that's done through commitment, consistency, and community. Yeah, yeah. So that's who we are. That's who I am.
Okay, that's who you are. Okay. So, listen, everyone, we're going to be having a session with Tiffany, Minister Wanda, and TT, and we're going to talk about the total body. So once we can get a date together, that look forward to that. I'm looking forward to that, to hear from their standpoint of the hair, the body, the feet, the hands, just the whole thing. So look forward to that. Hey, Linda, my sister is on. Pastor uh, Jackie and Pastor Daphne. I saw Alfreda and Michelle. Anyone that's here today, thank you so much for being here. We are going to carry on from last week. And last week we were talking about children. We talked about their perspective. All of a sudden, I just got real hot, y'all. This is going to be a good show. I
I just said it's gonna be really good because you over there sweat.
don't know what's going on. So if we could kind of pick up from last week. Anybody know where we left off? I didn't bring my pad.
You need my vein.
I'm so sorry. Oh, Wanda, come,
Yes.
can you start us?
I believe we made some very valid points. Miss Erica was here and shared some great information with us about having that talk with her children and being able to hear some of those uncomfortable things that we might not want to hear.
Yes,
When raising our children and just doing our best, navigating, some of us navigating through divorce and all of those things, and realizing that um, while we're trying to make life happen because life is lifing, and we're just doing our best to be parents, that sometimes um, we we think we're doing our best, but it's possible that we are missing the mark. And them having that conversation with us to let us know, yeah, these things happen, and having those conversations might not be the best thing. Like literally, you have to sit there and be quiet and listen and take it, and not interject and hear them, and then do your best to respond without dismissing their feelings, because their feelings are real. You know, how they dealt with it emotionally is real. And their perspective sometimes and their take on what really is going on is a lot different, than how it really can be. Uh, the weeks before, Tiffany shared her experience with, her parents, and how she was hard to love. And I shared my experience of my perspective of what was going on, and my brother's perspective of what was going on in the family. And both of us felt, he felt like I was being favored. I felt like he was being favored. Um, and we did. Uh, Talk about that favorite child. If they're in the family, there is a favorite child. And we talked about that again last week. Because Tiff is like, we might not want to admit it, but and as people opened up and responded to the topic, we kind of had to look and see that there might be a favorite child, whether we wanted to admit it or not. Um, I was that was my story. I was sticking to it. Was
Don't have no favorite.
there was no favorite child. Story. I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to it. Let me just say this. I know that there were some of my children that felt like I had favorites. I believe that I responded to them or dealt with them according to their personalities. Um, seriously still have to think and wonder if I had a favorite child. Now, I just saw Ashley's.
You only got one.
You said I
You only got one.
one child. I know I have a favorite. She only has one child. Now, if my children were to tell it, my oldest would say, "Oh, I'm the favorite." Gigi might say, "Oh, I'm the favorite." Out of Jada and Jasmine, Jada would say, "Oh, I'm her favorite." No, girl, I'm the favorite. It's just.
Yeah.
But we've
Yeah.
had some amazing conversations about our
Yeah.
children and their perspective, and then watching how our words affect them, knowing that we have to be very intentional in our conversations with our children when they're young and now that they're older. And now, if we weren't that way or we weren't aware of it when we were raising them, we now can have the opportunity to help them with their children and making some corrections. So that's kind of like a recap of what we
Yeah.
got over the last 2 weeks.
And I know Tiffany has I don't know if she has it with her this week, some of the ones in the Bible that had favorites. But yeah, this was a Tiffany's conversation. And Ashley, I forgot to say, hey, Ash, when I was saying hey to everybody. And I thought about it. And right after I thought about it, I said, excuse me, your oldest child is here. Now, there's a picture that's roaming around on Facebook and Instagram, probably that Adrian has put up of herself. And she says, I'm the favorite, so that's my Adrian. And she had come into Georgia and we went to pick her up from the airport, and she's sitting in the back and she's snapping a picture, putting it up there, talking about I'm the favorite. And she always says that. But I like I deal differently. It's not I don't know if I can say I have a favorite, and it might be that I have always been mindful of that to not have one. It could be that as well, but to know that both of them have a place in my heart, and both of them I deal differently with. I know what Ashley gonna do, what Ashley not gonna do. I know what Adrian's gonna do. Adrian likes to she likes to take me on a Ferris wheel ride. Let's stop here and see what happened. Let's see if up in the air what's going to happen. It's just like Adrian. But Ashley, she's just laid back, and she's just calm, collective. She hot headed now, but she calm, collective. Where Adrian is like, "Ma, let's go, let's do this, let's do that." And Ashley's like, y'all go ahead. I'm good. So I know when I want to do something or go somewhere, I know to call Adrian. If I take Ashley along, I got to hear this. How many stores we gotta go to? Why you gotta stay in the grocery store too long? She always got something to say, and she's
Wait,
like,
which
no,
one is high headed?
both of them.
Now, where they get that from? Switchblade.
We'll have to pray about that thing right there. I'm not sure. Yeah, they both hot headed differently, but they both are hot headed, and it doesn't show up. But when it shows up, it shows out. So, and yeah, that used to be me. I've worked on it quite well. Not saying that it probably. Um might not show up anymore. I'm not saying that, but I do try to keep it under wraps, you know. So yeah, the difference between the two of them is only when you look at it, you say, and what do we used to say? Only a God could do this. Each one of our children are different. They do different, they act different, and we have to manage them differently. Yeah, grandchildren, right, grandchildren as well. I have three, and each one of them are different. Each one of them, like my oldest, is laid back, but she can be a little feisty too. That middle one is just feisty all the way, just feisty all the way. And then my grandson, he's the educator. If I don't pronounce something right, he's 5 and he says, "No, no, mom, it's pronounced like this." And he has to pronounce it and make me pronounce it behind him. He's my educator. The one in the middle is, oh, she just always got something to say, always telling me how something needs to be done. And the other one is just laid back, living life, you know. So they are all different and you do handle them differently. So, um, Tiffany, we haven't heard from you, and I know you got something to say.
Wanda did a wonderful recap.
She did.
A wonderful
Thank you.
recap.
There was something she said
Um,
to talk about.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
No, 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 go ahead.
What was you gonna say?
No, I said there was something she said I wanted to talk about. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, um, after that call, I had an amazing conversation with my son, and in that conversation, so I had to set rules because he will get kind of heated and really feeling what he wants to say, and his voice will get raised and all of the things, right? So I was like, we can have this conversation as long as you are respectful about it. You know, mommy's gonna have the floor, and then you're gonna have the floor, but it takes a level of maturity from the parent, because like Wanda said, just to hear what they're gonna say back to you, and just really, um I had to make sure I wasn't standing in a posture of um being def- being dis- being defensive, because our stuff stink too. You know, like, we are not perfect people, and my prayer was, as as we had the conversation, that God helped me to hone in on what he's really trying to say. And I was very um I'm glad we had the conversation, because in that space as well, I have a responsibility to teach him how to have great communication, because outside of mommy, like, with his teachers and teachers and anyone, and just further on in his life, like, you aren't going to always like what the other person is saying, and you like there's a maturity you need to have when you're having conversation, because what I found is a lot of times we are listening to respond and not really trying
Right.
to understand what the person is saying. And I had to correct some of my stuff. you know um he was like, you don't spend a lot of time with me, but in his head, 8 hours a day is a lot of time. Like, he wants 8 hours from me, and I can't give him 8 hours.
And I
So,
don't know why
I
you
had to
can't.
I had to so I had to, try to break that down, um to a point where he could understand it. Will try to understand it. Um so, yeah, it was a really great conversation.
That's good. And
Yeah.
that's where I wanted to pick up from because we don't as adults always we do get defensive, especially when they talking about us. That is not an easy pill to swallow, because they do have their own respecto, respected opinion. And we have to respect them for their opinion, even though sometimes, and it's no different than us in life, period. With people, and we take something and we take it out of context. And when we take it out of context, we run with that because that's what we see. And you have a conversation with the person, and they're like, that's not it at all. That's not what I meant at all. What are you talking about? That's not where I was coming from. And so that's human nature. The way our children feel and think is human nature. So when they come to us with what they see and what they understand, in their perspective. And I'm not saying it's correct, but what I'm saying is that they have a perspective just like we do. And when they see things, they see it through their young eyes. That's what we got to realize. They're seeing it through what position they're in. When they get older, a lot of them still say the same thing because that's the way they saw it. They're not seen as adult because they're not adults. They're seeing it as maybe a young adult, a child, but they can't see it as an adult because they're not an adult yet. So the way we calculate, the way we think, the way we process things is different than our children. And we have to give them space for that. And that's the hard pill to swallow.
Or
That
they become the adult and they're still stuck with that particular thing. They're still stuck where that happened at the age that it happened at, where that pain or that feeling or that emotion was injected. So you might have a 25-year-old that's still processing and remembering the memory from when they were 8, and that becomes an issue. And I also want us to, when we get ready to have those conversations, uh, make sure that we don't dismiss it, um, because I know all of us can relate to you going to someone to have the conversation with them about how it made you feel, and your feelings were valid. How you viewed it was valid for you. This is the way that came off to me. And for anyone, if when that wasn't the case, but to just immediately dismiss it like your feelings weren't true, you know,
right.
that can be very detrimental. That's another pain inflicted because uh, even though it was wrong, well, that's not what I meant. That's what I wasn't. That isn't what I was saying. And how you say that uh, means the world to that conversation and can really navigate the effects of that conversation going forward. Because there's nothing worse than dealing with someone that just dismisses how you feel and discounts how you feel, because that wasn't the case. We want to always be mindful of that when we're talking to our children or grandchildren, and honestly, almost anybody,
Yeah.
because their feelings are valid. Right.
Yeah. 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 And just wait. You can go, Tiffany. Uh, the thing of it is that when we dismiss, we diminish or make them feel less than who they are. So it's very important because sometimes we'll say, "Oh, it's our child," and we're saying, "Oh, yeah, they just like that," or they just think their view of things is just so distorted. We say things and not understand or not put it in perspective that that's still their feeling,
Yeah, we devalue them.
the value.
We devalue them.
Mhm. Go ahead, Tiff.
What I wanted to say, I wanted to jump in and say, Wanda had made a statement about, 8-year-old memory or what have you. And I remember painting this, like, the picture that I painted of my mother wasn't reality. Cause I was like, my mother never did nothing, just all of the things, when I blocked a lot of that stuff out.
Right.
And that stuff did not resurface until therapy. And I was like, oh, mommy did take us to all of the ice capades. She did, like, all of the neighborhood children like to come over, like, and she cooked with us. She showed us how to make ice cream. Like, she did all of the June Cleaver stuff, but I had literally blocked that out. I had blocked that out, and like the picture that I painted of my mother to other people, they're believing my side of the story. And my side of the story wasn't the correct version of the story, but I think it's the correct version. So I was like, oh my God, like I had to go back and apologize to her. I was like, Ma, oh my God, like, I'm sorry. Like, literally, it was blocked and it did not resurface until therapy.
Yeah, and that's a
So,
very valid point.
Very good. That's very
yeah.
good. And I think
Mhm.
So,
that that's something you got to think about, Tiff, when we get ready to have those conversations,
yeah.
that their memory, their version can be distorted. And so, it's not the clear picture of what went on, but that's what they saw. And that's why we can't go into it defensive, you know, because the first thing we want to do, you just, now you,
Y'all, you ain't gonna do that to me. You ain't gonna say that about me.
what? That's why, that's so good, Tiff. That's so good. I love that.
Yeah, that was good. You was gonna say something else, Tiff.
no, no, I was just going to just say, like, the woven fabric of our life, like, sometimes we really have to unravel piece by piece and be patient with yourself. And I mean, I love it on this side. I love the freedom that I'm able to walk in because I took the first step. It was really hard for me to take the first step, because now you're turning that mirror on yourself. And it's like, dang, do I really like what's looking back at me? And I did not look back at me. I remember turning that mirror and how distorted I looked. And you asked earlier, like, did you tell yourself how much you love yourself and all of the things this morning? Like, y'all probably think that I do too much in the morning, because when I walk past the mirror, I'll be like, hey girl, how
That's what we're supposed to do.
how we doing it? Like, we gonna have a great day. Just all of the things it's just it's that self work is so key to, um it's just so key to understanding who you are. Yeah, I think that's all I want.
Tiff, when you talked about us, our lives, and having to unravel it, I reached to get, I have two pair of earrings that are made out of yarn. And immediately when you said that, I began to picture a piece of yarn. Now you might get one twine in a yarn, right? One string, like I have some earrings that are made out of yarn. So you got one string that's made out of yarn. But if I were to cut this off and begin to unravel it, there are so many pieces that
Yes.
make up this one string. And so when we begin to look at our lives like you're talking about, unraveling, and imagine me trying to cut that, and then how intricately I would have to take my time to unravel all of those pieces so I could see how many actual pieces of strings of yarn that it took to make that one piece. That means it's going to take time. And when it comes to our lives and us being parents and even us being children, when we go back and we begin to unravel, it's going to take time, piece by piece by piece. But that unraveling is essential to you loving yourself, like Tiff talked about, like we saw in the video. And I hope we get to talk about a little bit of that because I wrote it down. But it's essential to being able to love yourself, have faith in yourself, and realize that you do matter, and looking at those things that we could have done better when it came to our children, because we have to see it. It has to be exposed so we can see it, so we can make changes in our relationship with them and then those to come. So I just wanted to say that because I thought
Mhm.
that statement was so powerful too.
So I'm gonna let you go to the video in a minute. When I thought of, I also thought about a cord, and one of the things that the word says, a cord is not easily broken. When we think of a cord, like you said, or a strand, we just see that one, and we think that is, when you think of a cord, you think that is real tight, and that's what's not going to break. But it's what's inside of each one of those coils that makes it strong. Now, when you think about it and you begin to, like you said, unravel it, when you're first talking to your children, the unraveling comes because first hurt has to be dealt with before healing could take place. So, what they first talk about is going to probably come from a hurt place. So, what do we do with that? How do we handle that? Do we be defensive and let them say, I'm just going to let them talk because they just got to get it out? No, the healing process comes through love, comes through love and understanding. So they have to begin to process these things that they seen younger differently. So, okay, so now we're older. Let's deal with it on a mature level. Let's unravel how you felt, because you got to get them from being hurt from how they felt as a little child. And sometimes they'll make like it didn't hurt them. I don't care. You know, a lot of times that's what they'll say. And then deep down inside, they do. They have just brushed it back so far so they feel like it doesn't matter. But you ever go through something and something wells up and you thought you had dealt with it, but the brokenness wells up from it? That a lot of times that's where our children are, and we don't understand it. Don't think that you're going to always go into this conversation and it's going to start out healthy. It's not, most times not going to start out healthy. Why? They're going to tell you what they feel, and something in the inside of you is going to make you feel a certain way. And as they're talking, you might want to rise up and slap them, might want to rise up, tell them off, or something like that. But healing has to come on both sides. The healing of how they feel about you, and the healing about how you feel about what they're saying about you.
Can I speak on feelings, Auntie? And what I wanted to share was, you said stuff will come up, when you feel like, I think as a culture, we have just been, um, we, a lot. I don't want to say all of us, but many of us have been taught to sweep stuff under the rug and don't feel and all of the things. So I want to really encourage people to tap into those things that you're feeling. Um, and when I say tap in, like feel it, go through all of the emotions and everything, and then work your way out of it. Because um, when you're not used to doing that, you really don't know what you're feeling for real. if you're really honest, I mean, if you're not building that muscle, then you don't know what those feelings really feel like. Um and just standing in honesty with your children, or just relationships period, you know, that's very important, you know, because people be like, man, suck it up, don't let them see you cry and all of the things. I remember um I had a separation from a friendship, and when that happened, like, I immediately started crying in front of them. And you know, it was like, why are you crying? And I said, because this hurts. The fact that we are parting this friendship, it hurts. And you know, people be like, man, be the bigger person. I mean, like, because I have nothing to prove, and I have a responsibility to show people that I'm human, and that I have feelings, and that, you know, that feelings are important, and it's okay to share those feelings even in front of your children. And then also, auntie, what I wanted to share too was, you were saying how um it comes from a hurtful place and all of the things, because even using my my experience with Cameron last week, and how he was like, um I feel as though you don't spend enough time with me. I didn't just let him regurgitate that out without doing anything. So now he said that. So now I'm like, okay. So what can we now do to change that? I said, now, this is mommy's schedule. When you come in from school, this is the amount of time. So I am helping him to process, like, I want mommy's time from the time I get home from school all the way to bedtime. And I know that's not, because I'm like, if it's just me and you, like, where does dinner come into place? Where does, you know, now you have to take a shower? Like, where does all of that stuff come? And now he's like, oh, dang, okay, maybe not all of the time, mom, but maybe we can carve in this. And now he can walk away with a really good experience. And then me, anything that was shown to me, now I'm I'm grateful for those times where things are brought to my attention, because now I'm like, okay, now I have something else to work on. And when those feelings arise, like, everything isn't brought on you at one time, because you would be bombarded with things you have to personally work on. But I get happy when I have to work on something where I've been lacking or failing, or, you know, missing the ball or missing the mark or whatever, because I want to, every day I want to become a better version of Tiffany that Tiffany can be. So if somebody be like, girl, you was nasty, I'm not gonna say no, I wasn't. Like, I'm really gonna check in at the end of the day, be like, God, when she said I was nasty, like, really, you know, was I nasty? And a lot of times I'd be like, yes, you were. You know what I'm saying? So now I have to, one, repent, two, I have to go back to the other person, like, all of the things. So I just wanted to share that.
That's good. That's
Feel,
good.
feel those feelings, y'all. Feel those
I,
feelings.
yeah, and I think what's amazing about that is that you you sat, you heard him, and you get the opportunity to make the change. Um, where now he felt heard, and you even grew in the experience. And so I like that, not dismissing feelings of the person and then even yourself. I had an experience this week, just the other day, with a client. End of the day, was very tired, and I've been dealing with something since Wednesday. I've been dealing with something. And so sometimes you try to be present and do your work, but the issue is still there. And it was the end of the day. Thursdays I work really, really late. I'm waiting for my next client. She doesn't come till 9, almost about 9:30, which means I'm not going to leave work till 12. This is the second job. And when I go to the salon on Thursdays, it's Thursday evening. So my first appointment is at 7. So this person was about 8, got her done in about an hour. And so when I finished her, she said, you're not a night, you're a night person, huh? And I just said, I just got to work, you know. She said, huh? What did you say to me? And I said, I just got to work. I got to work. And her body language, her facial expressions, she was like, oh, okay, well, thank you, Wanda. Take care. I'll see you later. And I looked and I was like, okay, next person. But it bothered me when I got home. I thought about it and I was like, something I said offended her. I could tell, I could look at her facial expressions, body expressions, and I didn't dismiss her feelings. So the next morning at a decent time, around 8:30, I text her and I said, good morning. I believe that what I said to you offended you. And then I explained, well, what you said to me was you're a night person, huh? And I explained that I just said I have to work. I said what I meant by that was that I have to be here in the evening because that's the only time I'm able to take clients in the evening. So I have to work evenings. I said that probably was a better way to express that or explain that than the way I did. So if I offended you or my statement offended you, I repent. And she messaged me back. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Take care. And I told her that it had been a long day. I was tired, you know. And she responded back, take care of yourself. I really appreciate you telling me that. But I said all of that to say that we can never dismiss someone's feelings. And when you pick up on the fact that you might have you might have offended someone, or they might not have taken your statement the right way, don't just dismiss it. Go back, correct it, and make sure it's understood clearly and concisely. And even with our children, sometimes we're doing things with our children and we can see their countenance change, how they're talking to us change, or they're dropping their voice or something. I think it's important that we start paying more attention to the conversations that we're having, even with our grown children, or if you're raising younger children. Because in my generation, they didn't pay any attention to that. They didn't pay attention to if suddenly we stopped talking. They didn't pay attention if my countenance dropped and now I look sad. They didn't pay attention to it.
Because
And
you were
I'm not
kid,
sure that I did as well.
a child.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that I didn't pay attention to those signals when I was raising my children as well.
Yeah. So I know you wanted to speak on something referring to the video.
Well, we almost like at the top of the hour.
We're at the top of the hour.
I think that honestly, that video would be a great way to kind of segue
Out.
back out of You Matter, because she started off saying that we should love what we see in the mirror. So
Okay.
I think that video would be a great way for us to transition.
Sure. Listen, thank you everyone for showing up today, being here. If you have not taken a moment to hit the like sign, subscribe, or share, please do so. We know that there's something that was said here today that can help someone else, and we this was like short versions of things that you can do, but it should be enough for someone to grasp hold of and continue working not on just your children, on yourself. Those things that you're still holding on to that broke you, those things you're still holding on to that you can't seem to let go of. This is the time to really work and try to help yourself be a better version of who you are. So let me see. Let me see. Oh,
Of looking in the mirror and loving what you see. Believe in what you see. If you can't love it, then respect it. And if you can't respect it, then encourage it. If you can't encourage it, empower it. And if you can't empower it, please be kind to it. The greatest relationship, the greatest one you will ever have is with yourself. Believe me. Have faith in yourself, believing that faith can make broken wings fly, and we deserve to soar. Remember, maybe one of these days when you pass the mirror and you catch a glimpse of yourself, remember I told you this. That is what believing looks like. And don't you ever, ever, ever give up on you. I challenge all of you to start a meaningful.
so I was looking at some of the comments, and some of the comments that was on there. One lady said that it changed her life, having the balance of God as of Yahweh and having the balance of embracing who she was changed her life. When you look in the mirror, embrace who you are and embrace the beauty of who you are. Don't look in the mirror and just see the negative things. See this you got some positive in you. Start to let it shine. Become that flower that sticks out, the colors that are within you. Let them begin to be vibrant and blossom. People are waiting on the real you, no longer hiding behind situations, hiding behind things that has happened, but coming forth and allowing that wonderfully, beautifully, and wonderfully made person to shine. You're more beautiful when you accept who you are. You're more beautiful when you embrace what the Creator has created you to be. So many times we allow situations to pile on pile on pile and pile and pile, and you can't see who the real you is. But I want you to begin to take those layers off. It's just like you begin to peel a banana, and you got to peel the layers. You got to take it off to get to the main part of it. But when you pull back those layers and you begin to see yourself, the beauty of who you really are, embrace it. Why? Because it's okay. And if you don't embrace it, no one else will. So until we meet again, I want you to know that we love you. Most of all, Yahweh loves you more. And this is a conversation that is important. We don't talk about these things. We don't address these things. And so we don't address them. We don't, a lot of times, not all the times, we don't feel the need to address it. So it goes unaddressed, it goes undealt with. And we go through life, children feeling the way they feel, we feeling the way we feel, and nothing is ever done. So take a moment, think about it. Go beyond what you think in your on top. Go deep. Go deep in your thought pattern. Go deep in your heart and begin to allow the beauty of those things to come forth. And until we meet again, which will be next Sunday, have an amazing week and know that Yahweh loves you so very much and He wants the best for you. This week, I'll be having, during the week, Thursday, I'll be having a session. And my session will be with Speak Up Sis, the owner of Speak Up Sis. And I'm excited about her conversation. We have some great conversations coming up this month with caregiving and just doing what we need to do to be better. So until we meet again, embrace yourself, give yourself a big hug, look in the mirror, like Tiffany said, hey girl, and go on about your business. But when you say it, don't say it just because it's something to say. Say it because you feel that thing about yourself. And have an amazing day. We love
Can I say
you.
something real quick?
Sure can. I
Even
thought
if
you
you
were
don't
waving
believe it,
by.
even if you don't believe it, still say it.
Keep saying it.
Because I started saying it when I did not believe it. So you
And
have to
that's
put
the
it out
same
there.
thing with the mirror. When you start looking in the mirror and saying you love yourself, that there's something on the inside that's going to begin to break, and it's going to begin to soften your heart about who you are. When you look in the mirror, it's not just the everyday thing, it's a process, it's a healing process. Those mirrors are to heal. When you go to the hairdressers or you go to the barber shop, and when you finish, what they do, they give you a mirror so that you can see how well you look, or to make sure that you got what you want. When you look in that mirror, begin to embrace the better part of you. And that means don't look in the mirror and tear yourself down. I'm this, I'm that. No, we've done that long enough. But look in the mirror and embrace the beauty that's within you. It's there. Some of
Yeah.
you think that it's not there, but it's there.
Yeah. And you have to say those positive things, even if you don't feel like it, even if you don't want to, because what those do, they cancel the lies of the enemy that have
Right.
been spoken to you consistently, so consistently that we begin to believe them. And the more you speak out, I am beautiful, I am brilliant, I'm phenomenal. Nobody looks the way I do. No one walks the way I do. No one can present this the way I do. Girl, you look good this morning. It begins to counteract and actually destroy the lies and the voice of the enemy that has told you the exact opposite. So you
Mm.
got to do it. If you
Yeah.
want to be greater, you want to be stronger, and you want to come out of it, just
Yes.
do it. Yeah.
Why? Some people say, I don't like to look in the mirror. Why? Because they have portrayed, they have drew this picture of themselves that is not true. Your mirror will always be true to you. So remember that. And Minister Wanda said, as a parent, you matter. As a child, you matter. There is only one you, and we need you. And that's what we're going to end with today. We need you. Take a moment and look in your mirror.